Mr. Kenneth Okonkwo,
Yeah.
thank you very much for allowing me to have this conversation with you.
Thank you, and you're welcome.
Now, this is obviously your abode. Since the campaign, you were in the campaign train for a couple of weeks and you went around Nigeria. Having done that and where we are today, what is your perception about Nigeria from the view of that campaign trail?
Nigeria is a beautiful country. Nigeria does not have problem of ethnicity or religion. Nigeria is a very welcoming country. Nigeria is hospitable. We went to the north, we went to the east, we went to the south, we went to the west. And everywhere my principal landed, he was welcomed by the people, by the rulers, by everybody. All these are our fault lines. They are simply the manipulation of the elites to divide the people so that their dishonest and incompetent leadership will be difficult to uproot. Because when you operate on divide and rule, the people will find it difficult to ever unionize and organize to remove them. So I discovered a lot of positive vibes moving around Nigeria. The next thing I discovered is that every Nigerian wants solution to Nigerian problem. Muslims, Christians, North, South, they go to the same market. They face the same problems. Why is it that when it comes to the issue of leadership, they now want to make a difference between us? The price of bread affects the Muslims, affects the Christians, affects everybody. Look at in Nigeria today, the affliction that APC has inflicted on us. For the first time in my life, people are using their own currency to buy their own currency. After desecrating Naira relative to the dollars and the pounds, APC government went ahead to desecrate Naira relative to Naira. They said they want to redesign Naira. And look at what happened. Their own policy. It is still their party that went to court after the people have suffered and was accepting it as a good policy if it will cure corruption. It was still APC that went to court to sabotage it and destroy it. Why? To give them the opportunity to manipulate the election in such a crazy and untoward manner. And that was exactly what they did. You can see the chaos. Now, that chaosity affected everybody. Fuel scarcity. Go to the line. You see Christians, you see Muslims, you see Northerners, you see Southerners. So I discovered when we were going round that the problem affects everybody. I discovered that Nigerians want a genuine salvation from these problems because nobody enjoys suffering. I now discovered that they were genuinely looking for a new set of leaders and leadership. And that was why they welcomed us. And they proved it. When the election came, they voted for us massively. North, south, east, west. We, as a political party, were the only party that got 25% in the whole 6 geopolitical zones, including FCT. If they had allowed our result, we would have won more states than any other party. You know what happened in Rivers? I want to bring the Rivers issue because that one is very, very clear. Because even in their IRF portal, with all the manipulation, everybody saw how they shifted our 80,000 votes and turned it to 3,000. and shifted their 12,000 votes and turned it to 80,000. So the issue here is that we won this election fair and square. That is why the INEC till today, under Professor Mahmood, has entered the Guinness Book of Record. It's the first organization that announced a result. And our party went to them, PDP went to them. Can you give us the result you announced? They said they don't have it. You announced the result.
Yes.
And you told people you don't have the result. We had to go to court to get a court order. Yet they cannot produce the result.
They certified true copies of those results.
Sure. You know why? There was no genuine result anywhere. They don't have it. It took 14 days. So they needed to manipulate the beavers again to know whether it can suit their fabricated result. Because you cannot give what you don't have. So announcing the result presupposes you have the result. The law is very clear in section 62, 2 and 3, that before you collate and announce, you would have a national electronic register of election results, whereby as the result is coming, polling unit by polling unit, it is going in there automatically. So you would have it by your side before you collate and announce. Because the law says when they give you any collated result, you must subject, you must verify, you must confirm the correctness and consistency of that result given to you with the one that is in the electronic register. Must. And I'm talking about section 64, subsection 4 and 5. Before you collate and announce, you must subject it. They didn't have it. They pointed out to Mahmood, sir, you're supposed to have this. As a matter of fact, you're supposed to be displaying it for everybody to be seeing, to be comparing. He said no, he would go on. And after that, he will review. He said he will go on. If you don't like it, go to court.
Isn't that the reason why the
judge... Yeah, just to conclude, he never reviewed. Because when he was saying he will review, he didn't have intention to review. He just wanted to bulldoze, to announce, and then run away. And that's what he did. He announced and ran away. He had to go to court to get an order to vary the judgment of a court, the ruling of a court, that you give us the result you say you have announced. He had to go to court to vary the order for court to give him the power to tamper with the beavers. So the beavers was tampered before he could tell you he has given you the CTC. So you will know the result that is giving you after the beavers has been tampered. But the question is, for 14 days, he was not able to give us result. But when he got the varying order to tamper with the visas, 3 days, they have finished reconfiguring. So what you don't have, you can do within 3 days. What you claim you have for 14 days, you cannot produce it.
You know, when we talk about the reconfiguration of beavers, one of the questions I would want to ask is, do you think it makes any sense that INEC started a process, knew that there's going to be 2 weeks in between, and they failed to build in the period of reconfiguration, bearing in mind that obviously you need to have these documents and data stored somewhere before you even talk about that reconfiguration? Did Labour Party need to go to court before you even get to that point?
They don't even need to build a second. Because I had just told you that the law is that before you even collate and announce, you already have the result. As a matter of fact, the law is that the CTC would have already been ready before you even announce. That's the law. Section 62, subsection 2 and subsection 3 of the Electoral Act. Now, the issue is that it ought to be ready before you announce. But if nobody demanded it before you announce, you're not under any obligation to give the CTC. Why? The IREF portal is there for everybody to view the result even before you announce it. This was not done. So there was no need to build any day for reconfiguration. Because you're talking about 2 weeks gap. Good. If you announce the result today, the presumption by law is that you already have the CTC waiting. That's the law. From section 60 of the Electoral Act to 65, just read it. 60 talked about counting and announcing in the polling unit. It talked about sending the result from the polling unit to the beavers, INEC, IREV portal, and the back end or wherever of the server where they transmit the result. That's 60. Then 62 is saying you maintain national electronic register of election results. Then 64 is telling you don't collate, don't announce, except these things are there so that you compare. And he said when you compare and there is a discrepancy, it is the one that is electronically generated you will use. Now in this case, there was no electronically generated by the side of Professor Mahmoud. So what he used was illegal. And you know what the law said? He said it's criminal. Whoever does not obey this law.
Are you saying that in all intents and purposes that Professor Mahmoud Yakubu has committed a criminal act?
By the law, as long as he did not follow the law, and he has come out to say there were flaws, and if the law say you did not follow this procedure, you have committed a crime, then you have committed a crime. Now, the people that were there made one mistake. You don't allow any Nigerian citizen to be committing crime in front of you. What you do is to arrest the person and hand the person over to the police. So what Nigerians would have done there by section 39 and section 40 of the Police Act, which gives every Nigerian citizen the right to arrest anybody that is committing crime in his presence. What they would have done is to arrest him and hand him over to the police. You don't allow any public officer to be committing crime and telling you to go to court. No public officer has the right to ever mention that. It is blasphemous. What a public officer is expected to do is to do his work in accordance with the law. And if you question him, he's under a duty to produce the law to you and read it and then tell you this is what I am doing. Then if it is not in order, you will tell him, sir, you are breaking the law, stop. And if he doesn't stop, then you have the right to arrest him and hand him over to the police. So what they would have done is that at that point that Professor Mahmoud was doing something against the law, which the law has said is a crime, they ought to have arrested him and handed him over to the police. They don't need warrants. That's what the law says. So this will be the last time in Nigeria any public officer will be committing crime in front of Nigerians and then be daring Nigerians to go to court. No. Nigerians should arrest the person and hand the person over to the police.
We have, in the last election, doing an analysis of what happened, there appeared to be a deliberate plan to incite ethnic division between the Igbos and the Yorubas. And this was a deliberate attempt, many people would argue. What's your view regarding that?
As a matter of fact, it's not ethnic division, like I said, because the order given was that if you are not going to vote for APC, don't come out. That's the order. Whether you're Yoruba, whether you're Shekiri, whether you're not voting for APC, don't come out. The thugs, they were there to harass you, to suppress you, and to forcefully take you out. So it is not a case of Yoruba against Igbo. No. Did you not see that cute Yoruba lady that they say you will not vote because you look like Igbo? Did you not see some Igbo people who are APC members? They were not stopped from voting. So I want people to understand this and put it in context. Why everybody should run away from such dishonest leaders. They are interested in power and money. They can kill you if you're Yoruba and you want to vote against APC. And they did it. Now, if you want to understand the danger in rearing or riding a tiger, look at what is happening in Rivers State. In the presidential election, the machinery of rigging in Rivers State was used to rig Labour Party and rig for APC. And they were happy. Oh, this machinery is so wonderful. When it came to the gubernatorial level, the same machinery was used to rig against APC, purportedly, rig against every other party, and rig for the government in power. Now, the machinery of that rigging even went forward after the election to arrest all the APC lawyers and collected all their petition and took them away. And the APC National, they dare not do PIM because the machinery of rigging will tell the whole world that it is the same machinery I used to rig for you in the presidency. This is why we must run away from dishonesty and deceit, because what goes round comes round. Exactly what APC is shouting now, APC Rivers State, is exactly what Labour was shouting. I'm surprised that the APC Rivers State did not side Labour. APC Rivers State said, for 2 weeks, we are going to ask for the CTC. Nobody gave us. Recall what Labour was saying. APC Rivers State, they were saying there was no election, that they carried all the ballot boxes and ballot papers and the result sheet and went and they wrote what they wanted. That was what they did to Labour in the presidential. And today the APC National, with all the wailing of the APC Rivers State, they cannot do PIM. What goes round comes round. Whatever you sow, you reap. It has not started though, because you can see how the religious crisis which APC is trying to foist in Nigeria, you can see how it is even bringing problem amongst them. The people that want to be Senate president in APC now, lobbying. The campaign they are using is that no, they are no longer in support of Muslim tickets. So APC must this time around choose a Christian who is a Senate president. When we were saying it, they were saying we are playing religious sentiment. What goes round comes round. Truth is the only thing that brings solution. APC has become an affliction against this country, and may the affliction not rise again the second time.
Since after the election, it appears that there is an uneasy calm. Those that won the election are going around asking people to congratulate them. On Monday here in Abuja, they came together at the Unity Fountain, and the reporter asked them what they were doing there. They said they were protesting, and they said why? So that people will congratulate them. Have you ever seen such a thing, that when someone wins an election and he goes out to ask people to congratulate?
So honestly, it is very amazing, because a lot of things have happened in APC that has never happened in the whole world. I told you about the currency issue, where people are using their own currency to buy their own currency. It has never happened in the whole world. That's why APC ruling party is the worst regime on earth. I have not seen anywhere in any country where they spent close to 400 billion naira to conduct an election, and they bypassed the reasons why they spent such an amount and did not use it. What cost that 400 and something billion naira. It's the beavers and electronic system that were purchased for the election. And then the INEC officials voluntarily bypassed the whole electronic machines that cost us a lot and went ahead to fabricate results and give the people. Did you not see, specifically in Lagos, where the INEC officials were telling people that they were instructed that they should not transmit the result from the polling unit? They said it openly, in open disregard of the law, open disregard of the electoral gadgets that cost us that much. It's only in Nigeria that such a thing can happen. So, after this election, you saw the trauma that was on the head of people. Why was it that traumatic? Because of the hope and the promise INEC gave. Then suddenly, that hope crashed. Peaceful election was replaced with brutalization of the citizens. People spent heavy amount of money to transport themselves from where they live back to where they went to vote, only to realize that they were beaten up and commanded that if they are not voting a party they don't want, they should not vote at all. You saw how young children coming up, age 14, 15, some of them went, took rope, dropped a message that their hope has been dashed, and went and hung themselves. These children are impressionable. When we were on campaign, I was shocked to see the level of enlightenment and awareness that has entered that age bracket. You will recall how when our principal was riding in Lagos, how one young boy came, a Yoruba young boy, came and stood in front of his car with stretched arms. He didn't even want to know whether the security can do anything to him. He was just going according to his mind. Later on, when he was interviewed, he said, "My parents told me that Peter Obi is a good man. And when I saw him, what came to my mind was just to move to pray for him." And you saw how he innocently came, not minding the danger to his life. These children are impressionable. We are putting in their psyche the spirit that will make them rebellious. They are no longer as docile as the people of the older generation. We have to be careful. INEC under Mahmoud and Festus Okoye, his mouthpiece, they have traumatized these young people. You saw how when people, women go naked protesting, these are signs of trauma, mental trauma that this INEC has pushed Nigeria to. I have not seen such level of mental trauma in my life. When we started seeing the results, we just had to rely on our faith, rely on our maturity to begin to think about how best to manage the situation. That it was traumatic on everybody. Can't you see that it was as if it was a burial ground? Nobody rejoiced in Nigeria. There were only two states where people rejoiced. That was Abia and Kanu. As a matter of fact, because of the level of rejoicing that erupted in Kanu, the governor that was defeated issued an order that there should be a curfew. Can you imagine? Just to stop people from rejoicing. Yet, it did not stop people from rejoicing. I wonder what kind of order is that. But that is APC. Issuing an order that people should not rejoice over their victory. So it was like a large burial ground where hopes were dashed and buried. But you know what? I have hope because man has spirit. The spirit of those young men that fought for this change. Nigerians unanimously rejected APC. This is the first time that somebody will be declared winner in Nigeria, and he did not win more states than others. As a matter of fact, others won more states than him because a lot of results we are swapped. That's why we are in court. This is the first time somebody was declared president in Nigeria and he did not win 25% in the FCT. The first time. So they did not win. No. How can a party traumatize Nigeria to that level and still come out to say they won? No, they did not win. They lost. They should accept it. So when they lost and they did all their shenanigans, their manipulations, it ended up in mental trauma to the Nigerian people. I am pleading to the Nigerian people, please, there is God eventually. Do not allow this affliction called APC to give you mental trauma. Don't go to commit suicide. Please. Let us continue praying. Our God will answer us, I believe.